Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to this brand new edition of Begg to Differ here on Ali Begg ABTV. So in essence, this is a review show where I gather a group of Aberdeen fans together over Zoom and we discuss any given month. So I wanted to try something a little bit different than normal for October's review. Editorially, I wanted to make this content a little bit more interesting than just going through game by game. What we've attempted to do is try and get to the crux of what is going on with Aberdeen's form, why it is so Jekyll and Hyde, and why at times we appear to take so many steps forward, yet give it a couple of weeks we take so many steps backwards. So let's remind you what happened in October before I bring the guests on. So during October, we played 6 games. We won 4 of them, and we lost 2 to Dundee United at Tannadice and to Rangers at Ibrox. We currently sit 4th in the Scottish Premiership table with games in hand. And of course, we are now semi-finalists of the Premier Sports League Cup to be contested in January. Bojan Majowski continues to be our leading goal scorer on 8 league goals. So, let's introduce the guests. Hi guys, thank you so much for jumping on tonight to do October's review. Let me just very quickly introduce you all. So first of all, I've got Richard Wilkinson, who is the admin of Aberdeen Football Club, the Beach End Boys Goodwin Vibrations, and also the owner of Beat 106 Scotland. Over here, I've got James McGaskill, who is a member of the Lewis and Harris Aberdeen Supporters Club. Down here is Erin Grieve, huge Aberdeen fan. And down here is Gary, one of the quartet of hugely popular Aberdeen podcast show, ABZ Podcast. Guys, thank you for jumping on. Okay, I'm going to ask you each the same question to start the show, and I want you only to give me a one-word answer, and that will hopefully set the tone for the programme. So Erin, I would like to start with you first. Can you please score out of 10 Aberdeen's performances in October?
What do we have? Killie, Dundee United, Hearts, Partick, Motherwell, Rangers. Yeah. 7?
Okay. Gary.
5.
James.
I think it's 6.
Richard.
6.
Okay.
I mean, as much as I wanted to go 7, but 6.
So Gary, you scored the lowest. You give them the lowest mark. Why have you only marked Aberdeen 5 out of 10?
I just don't think the performances have necessarily been there. Rangers on Saturday was truly horrendous. I mean, I would give a negative mark for Rangers alone. And then United at the start of the month. I mean, talk about bookending October that way. I mean, United in particular was so bad, but the performance on Saturday as well, Ibrox, just I almost can't put into words, certainly without swearing. I know we don't want any swearies on this one, Ali, so it's very difficult for me to contain myself in that. And I kind of feel like the home performances were okay. Hearts, I think, truth be told, Hearts were unlucky not to leave Pittodrie with something. There's the miss of the century from Cochrane early doors. They score that, and it's potentially a completely different game. Thistle, we should be beating Partick Thistle at home in the cup. And even the second half, I didn't think we played particularly well. And Motherwell away, great to get the hoodoo off the back from an away performance, getting a win, but the warning signs were there as well. So, bang average, 5 out of 10.
Okay, so Erin, are we flattering to deceive?
I think Dundee United was a million times worse than Rangers. I think a 4-1 loss at Ibrox is not, and also will not be, the worst result of this season. The 4-0, losing 4-0 to a team that hadn't won a single game is horrific. And I think if we hadn't lost to Dundee United and would only lost to Rangers that month, I think that's a pretty good month. And the Dundee United one is probably, that for me is the worst result of the season. And hopefully will stay the worst result of the season. It was absolutely disgraceful. Other than that, beat Hearts, beat Killie fairly comprehensively. Parting in the cup was good. We turned it off second half because we knew we were fine, which isn't really acceptable, but we were fine. And then we won away. We won away from home, and it wasn't Perth. So I don't think it was terrible in the grand scheme of things. I think the next three are big because now we've got a big break after that, and we need to go into that having won all three of the next ones. I think that's what's most important.
Richard, as soon as Erin mentioned the Dundee United loss for her was worse than the Rangers defeat, you nodded in agreement immediately. Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's been so much said about the game against Rangers at the weekend, you know, about a brave but ultimately erroneous setup, blah, 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 etc., etc. You know, listen, how many times in the past 30 years have we gone to Ibrox and won? I think it's on less than one hand. So the expectation there wasn't great. And frankly, 4-1 flattered us immensely in terms of the end result. So, you know, I'm disappointed. Every Dons fan was disappointed on Saturday. It's done. Move along. But what Erin said in terms of, you know, the result, everybody was going down there going, this is going to be a fun night tonight because all the signs on the wall. We just come off the back of a 4-1 win against Kilmarnock. That's, you know, that's where, you know, Aberdeen can be Aberdeen. And, you know, for all the great results that we had after it, it's the inconsistency that's just been so massively frustrating, where you just don't know which side is going to turn up, whether it's the attacking side that plays the most amazing, fast, free-flowing, you know, goal-scoring football, or the team that's kind of looking over its shoulder going, am I in the right place here? Am I doing the right, what, you know? And that's, for me, the Dundee United game. Nobody wants to see that again, but it's in the back of our heads now of going, that's how bad it could be for this team.
James, let me come to you. The thing that I'm finding particularly frustrating already is that we can take 5 steps forward, but the very next week take 10 steps backwards. Can you try and put your finger on why you think we are already so inconsistent?
Hate to say it, but I'm looking at some of the comments that have already been said across the board about some of the particular positions, there's a wee bit of the quality maybe. I'm thinking, I mean, we're past the point now of gelling as a team, you know, and I would say that some of the, and I hate to criticise players, but some of the weaknesses, some of the performance against Rangers, the gaps that were there, the way that they were slotting the ball through, and Stewart and Richardson, at times even going back to the game where we lost against Dundee United, and Coulson on the left back, as good as Coulson's been going forward, and he's been great going forward, he was culpable on the left side. And I do think that, bear in mind, we've had one transfer window. Jim Goodwin said one transfer window. I would suggest that the next one's a big one. And I think that the recruitment really has to be key. Certainly, I know we've been linked with the right back. I think centre back has to be strengthened as well. So I'm thinking a wee bit of quality that needs to come in there as well, and to have a bit of strength and depth. Because I'm actually looking at players who had put in very good performances last season. Marley Watkins at times seemed to be unplayable, and then he's just dropped away. And same with Maddie Kennedy. At times he's put in good performances and again dropped away. So that strength on the bench actually concerns me as well.
Gary, have you guys got over your anger? Because I listened to you guys after the Dundee United game, and it was quite obvious to all who listened to the podcast, which was an excellent podcast, by the way. it was the first time that, as a trio, I really felt your anger. Are you still angry after the way we have been performing and the way that we do appear to take some steps forward, but then just come straight back to square one?
Yeah, I probably am still angry about that performance, to be honest with you. This is the thing. It's like I feel that, okay, we then went on a little bit of a run and it almost feels like, oh, we should just forget and forgive that performance at Tannadice. But for me, it doesn't work that way. That was an absolutely horrendous performance that we put in at Tannadice. I mean, I'd go as far as to say that was up there for me as with the 9-0 at Parkhead under McGee. I honestly would go as far as saying that, because the circumstances are different. You know, we when we went to, I can't believe we had to defend Mark McGee here in that 9-0, but we go to Parkhead there, Celtic are flying at the top of the table, we're, you know, abject, we go down to 10 men for a period of time, although it levels back up to 10-10 later on. You can, that could happen. It's a freak result. It can happen. To go to the team who were bottom of the table, no home wins. I think they'd only scored 2 home goals, or maybe just 1 home goal in the league when we rocked up. To go there and be scudded for 4 was just, yeah, that was proper anger, proper seethe. And as you say, the 3 of us are normally, there'll be that little bit of kind of like difference of opinion between the 3 of us, but for the 3 of us to be as angry as we were that evening probably says everything. But I'm still, you know, I know the guys are saying about the performance on Saturday, and, you know, you can go to Ibrox and, you know, how many times we won there in the past at like 30 years, and, you know, other teams will go there and get a hiding this season. Yeah, fine. But the reason I'm so frustrated by the performance of Saturday is, yeah, you can go to Ibrox at Parkhead and get beat by 3 or 4. Of course you can. For me, the bigger worry was around the complete inability of our managerial team to identify what was happening on the pitch. I mean, if we say it all the time, if the 3 of us on the podcast can see what's going on, surely guys who are being paid good salaries to manage our football club can see what's going on. And for nothing to have changed, for nothing to have been adapted until we were 3-1 down, and they'd missed a penalty by that point, for me is, you know, it's almost like a dereliction of duty. And I know that's a really like extreme way of going at it, but that for me was the biggest concern that I took away from Saturday.
I feel like with bringing up the 9-0 game, Gary's just like wiped away 10 years of therapy of just, you know, it's just kind of like there's lots of things that have just come back up again that have been surfaced, you know.
That's what we do in our podcast.
Yeah.
Erin, I want to jump in. Sorry, Richard, I'll come back to you. Erin, on Saturday, when I was reporting for North Sound, the producer of the programme clicked through to me and he said, "Can you calm down a little bit?" He said, "I can hear you through our headphones, and thank God you're not on air, because all I was doing was shouting and screaming for Jim to change the formation. Even when it went to 1-1, when they equalised, I just wanted him to change the formation there and then." Were you just as frustrated?
Yeah, we went 1-0 up. Like, you have 1-0 up Ibrox, and it's brilliant because as much as it's not my favourite place to go, when you score there, it is incredible. It's so good. And we were 1-0 up, and I was thinking, this is it. This is going to be fine, and we'll forget about Dundee United. I left early at Dundee United. It's the 3rd time I've ever done it, and the 2 before that, one was a Celtic and one was a Rangers. So I was absolutely furious after Dundee United won. It was absolutely unacceptable and disgraceful. But Saturday, I thought, we're 1-0 up. This is great. And if you go 1-0 up at Ibrox, I know that people say, oh, you want to watch nice football, or you want to watch, oh, people want attractive football, you don't want teams just sitting in. If you go 1-0 up, I want everyone behind that ball. Because it doesn't matter if it's pretty or not. If you go with 3 points, no one cares. No one's going to watch it back, are they? No. Everyone's just delighted. And it should have been a back 4 straight away. And then it should have been see it out till half-time at 1-0. 1-1 wasn't the end of the world. You'd take a point at Ibrox. I would have taken a point before the game. When it went 2-1 at half-time, it was obvious that was it killed because we didn't know what we were doing. And the defence has been and will continue to be the problem, hopefully until January only, and then it's going to be fixed because we need a centre half and we need a right back. Richardson is okay-ish going forward, but he is not a right back, unfortunately. We have bought a defender who is not a defender.
James, what did you think of the three at Ibrox? At Motherwell, I thought it worked perfectly. I thought we looked good. The shape was good. I always felt we were in control of that game. On Saturday, I felt we were so badly out of control of that game. But the bad thing is that we were all crying out for it. We were all saying, please play two up front. Please be bold. So he did exactly what we basically were all saying, didn't he? To begin with.
He did. And, I was reading Duncan Shearer's comments about it's what we've all been crying out for, and he won't knock him for it. Part of me agrees, but then the other part of me is thinking, well, going to what Erin was saying, you go 1-0 up at Ibrox, and I'm thinking, yeah, and you can see it, change it. And let's the thing is, though, what concerns me as well, and you go back 3 years maybe to a team when we would not have possession and we could look comfortable not having possession. That's gone. And it's such a concern that when we don't have possession that, we're going to concede, and you can feel it coming and the gaps start appearing. Yet when under some of the teams under Derek McInnes, that wasn't happening. We could be comfortable without the ball and we could still soak it up and counter. And I'm afraid that's although it is a bit negative, but from looking at last season, yes, we've kind of jumped up. But I think where we are just now, we're almost sitting like a top 6 team. We're not top 3, top 4, in my opinion, because of the quality. And I think if we get to a good January transfer window, potentially, but I think it needs to be a good one to try and secure third or fourth.
Okay, so Richard, I can see you're desperate to jump in. I can sense your frustration. Tell me what you're thinking right now.
Listen, I mean, we're ending up talking about the Rangers game, and as I said, in my head, it's done. However, according to the BBC, we set up 3-1-4-2. It was I get it was more of a kind of sort of 3. 5-3, at the back sort of thing. It was really 3 at the back. But Rangers set up 4-2-3-1, which was, our infamous, famous, traditional, certainly when Derek was managing, there was no other formation that we would pick. They had the 2 defensive midfielders in there, and Giovanni Bronckhorst has been criticised by lots of Rangers fans for only playing 1 striker up front at Ibrox. They were going to control the ball, and knowing full well that our passing and our play has been again inconsistent. Again, as everybody said, it was just. I mean, the one word when you said it, asked the question to James, the one word I would have used was suicidal. To go to Ibrox and do that, just crazy. And as you've said, to not see it and not change it and not adapt, it's that inconsistency where we talk about 4-0 at Dundee United, that inconsistency from the manager, because, he was happy to take all the fall from that, and he should do, because it was just poor decision-making when we're all sitting here going, we can see it, we can see what the problems are. Why can't you?
Gary, on a more positive note, so we are into the semi-finals of the League Cup. We've been allocated 20,000 tickets for that game in January. And we are currently sitting in a position where if we get a decent win at the time of recording on Friday night against Hibs, and we have a game in hand, would you have taken that before the World Cup break?
So, if we win on Friday, we'll be third, won't we? We would go third with a game in hand.
Yeah.
Also, the game in hand is against the team who've just pulled our pants down. So, would I have taken that?
The game on Friday is against a team who beat us before, so it'll all be fine because then it'll all work out.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go, absolutely positive, then would I have taken third place in a semi-final of the League Cup before the World Cup? Yes, as a bare minimum, based on the draw we've had in the League Cup. The League Cup, getting to semi-final based on the draw we've had is bare minimum. We've not played a Premier League team to get here. And I know that that's luck of the draw and that happens, and you need to make the best of the draw that you get. And we've done that so far. But if we'd failed at any of the hurdles here so far to get to League Cup, we'd be in a completely different conversation. The flip side, of course, to that argument is that lose on Friday night, and if results go against us, then we could be sitting in, probably 6th or 7th spot, I think, in the league, and then it's a completely different conversation all of a sudden. So, I mean, the next 3 games, I think Erin touched on it a minute ago. We spoke about it on the podcast, I think, this week as well, that the next 3 games, the run up into the World Cup, are huge. If we pick up 9 points from those games, suddenly things look a little bit rosier, I think. If we don't, then there's some big question marks in that December run, because that's a really funny little period now in December where we come back from World Cup before we get to January window, because we play both Glasgow teams in that run. I can't remember who else we've got in there, but it's not an easy run up until Christmas, New Year period, and then you get to the January window, and massive questions have to be asked again about what the board do. I think from that perspective, depending where we sit in the league. We saw what happened last year where they didn't back their man in the transfer window, and it'll be interesting to see whether they stick or twist.
James, I completely agree with Gary. I am of the thinking that our next game, Hibs, Livingston, Dundee United, we need, no matter what, 9 points, because I think as a club, and as a fan base, we need to go into the World Cup break in an absolute positive state of mind. Are we capable of getting the 9 points?
I'd completely say so. And the thing is, this game against Hibs is all about how we come back at it. What kind of attitude do we have to respond after that performance at Ibrox? Hibs, Livingston, Dundee United. These games we can and we should be winning. I remember when I was on with you before, it was after the Kilmarnock game, and we were looking ahead to October. And I'd said at that point that I thought that, we were looking ahead through the month to the Rangers game. And I was the Dundee United one was key. And then what happened? And it went belly up, and then the month just was a roller coaster. And with just results, but performances as well. But I think we've got performances in us. But we have to learn some lessons. The gaps that were appearing there, and yes, okay, it was Rangers at Ibrox, but I think we still need to look at these because we're getting caught out at times, and we don't look great in defence. But I still think that yes, we can go through, we can win the next 3 games.
Erin, do you concur?
Yeah, Hibs at home. Our home form is very, very good. I hope I haven't ruined the home form by saying this. Our home form is very good. Hibs at home should be fine. We're due them unpleasant result after what happened there. We weren't brilliant. We weren't. But I think an incorrect decision changed the game, and I think we can beat Hibs at home. Livy away, we like to win it. I'm trying the Tony Macaroni, isn't it? Yes, we like to win there. And I was going to call it spaghetti had, but I don't think they like that. And then Dundee United at home. Oh, Dundee United are going to get an absolute doing because we're not having that. No. We were just giving them a little moment. We're tricking them, and then we're going to beat them 9-0. So, no, I think we'll get 9 points. If we're sitting going into the World Cup, if someone had said to me at the start of the season, going into the World Cup, you'll be third and you've got the Cup semi in January, I'd be absolutely delighted. And I think if we finish third, winning the League Cup, that would be an excellent season, considering what we did last year, which was embarrassing. So I don't think things are as terrible as people make out.
Okay, that was going to be my next point. Isn't it fascinating that we're all discussing, and if you jump online and you read some of the fans' forums, where at the moment you can really feel the frustration. But I think if you ask any Aberdeen fan before the World Cup break, would you take a League Cup semi-final berth and third in the table? I think we would all snap our arms off for it. Yet, Richard, there is still this huge sense of, oh my God, what are we going to get this week? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Forgive myself repeating myself. It's consistency, and I agree with everybody. So I'm just looking at the fixtures here. Hibs, Livingston, Dundee United. We should be winning. If we have aspirations to be third, we have to win those games, and we should be winning those games. And forgive me if I'm wrong. I think we've only drawn one game in the league this season. We're a winning or losing team, and it feels like in terms of that consistency, we're either going to smash it or we're not. We were the 1-1 against Ross County where we lost the goal in the last minute. And I think the only other sort of kind of game where there was one goal in it was at St Johnstone as well. What I would also like to see looking forward is, those two Old Firm, I think you can still call it the Old Firm, but those two Glasgow teams at home at Pittodrie on the 17th of December, the 20th of December. I'd like to see us put up a fight. I'd like to see us, okay, we know that we're not going to, be second or first, but can we at least show some heart, some drive, some defensive oomph and common sense? And, if there's a point, brilliant. Can we not get gubbed? Can we not get humped? That would be brilliant too. That would be a really nice Christmas present. And then, before the transfer window opens, St Mirren away, Kilmarnock away. They're going to be tough games during the festive period. Everybody's tired, blah, 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 etc., etc. But again, teams that Aberdeen Football Club should be looking at beating. So I do have that positivity. I don't know whether it's this kind of self-entitledness as an Aberdeen fan to go, we should be third. We should be beating the teams that aren't based in Glasgow, and we should be beating them comfortably. That's the level of expectation. So hopefully we'll do that. Hopefully we'll continue to be third, and please, hopefully we'll get some decent reinforcements in the January window and as soon as possible.
Gary, has there been a standout player for you in the month of October?
Duke. It's as simple as that, isn't it? That's a pretty straightforward one. Unquestionably, yeah, Duke.
James, do you concur?
Yeah, he's been the highlight. He's been the positive. It was a shame that if he'd hit the ground running, he'd been in that position right from the start of the season. But yeah, he's been great.
Erin?
Obviously, Johnny Hayes. No, I'm joking. It would be Johnny Hayes if Johnny Hayes had played the whole of October, though. 100%.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Chile,
no, it is Duke. He has been so good to watch, isn't he? Also, I don't know if it's because he has become really good or if Majowski is actually slipping away a bit. I'm not sure if it's just he doesn't look as brilliant because Duke is so good at the moment. If both of them can be brilliant, that's two excellent strikers up front, and that's sorted. That's not where the problems are.
Again, Richard, it's so fascinating. The only player that appeared to have had any sort of pass marks from Saturday's horror show was Duke. I think this kid has been an absolute revelation, and I put it out on my socials a couple of weeks ago that he's got to start every game, and I absolutely still stand by that comment.
Absolutely. He's where the magic happens. You give him the ball, you just don't know what's going to happen. And invariably, he'll stick it in the back of the net, win you a free kick. The faffing about, I know that's a horrible way of putting it, but when he was, spinning all the Rangers defenders in and around, and then Connor Barron got the ball and banged it in the back of the net because they were all busy going, what, penalty? It was just a beautiful thing to watch. And I can't remember a Don striker do some of the stuff that he's done. I'm sure there has been, but just as Aaron said, he's beautiful to watch. I hope he's going to be around for a long, long time because, he's got goals in him. He can turn a game. And, as I said, the problems we have aren't in that part of the pitch. And yeah, wonderful player. And as I said, congrats to Connor Barron for getting his first goal. And what a place to get it.
Yeah. Guys, I would like to leave the show there, if you don't mind, on a positive note. So thank you all so much for jumping on. It's been fantastic having you all on and listening to your insights tonight. So I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, and we'll see each other again very soon. Bye.
Thanks, Ali.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
I really hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you found it of interest. And if you haven't, please feel free to subscribe to the channel as we continue to build momentum here on Ali Begg ABTV. So we are all done for today's review show. I really hope you enjoyed the watch, and I look forward to your company again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.